When I was 35 years old, I went home to live with my mother for what would ultimately be her final 5 months. In that time period, because we knew what her fate was going to be, she insisted that I write everything down in a journal, because she insisted that having a written account of everything she and I had gone through together would help me later in life. And I loved this book, and I worked really hard on it, and for years, I would carry it around with me wherever I went. So a few years after that, I took a Caribbean cruise, and on the last day, our ship ported in the port of Miami, and I had gathered all of my things, and I walked off the ship in a great mood after a fantastic vacation, and I was just walking through the port of Miami, just feeling great, and then I made the turn, and then I saw a drug-sniffing German Shepherd, and I knew that I had made a horrible error in judgment, because in my wallet, wrapped very tightly in cellophane and Scotch tape because it was a premeditated crime, was the equivalent of $5 remaining off of a $10 bag of marijuana. Let's be cool and not judge me. So I have no choice but to go forward. So right as I'm about to get, so I pass the dog, who gives me a friendly sniff, and the agent with the leash gives me a little bit of customs humor when he says, it's my first day, I don't know if he bites. I give him a, ha, everything's cool laugh, and I continue walking forward. I'm about to get to the door when I hear him say, excuse me, sir, my dog has just informed me you have an illegal substance on your body. Is that true? Now I'm busted. It is my word against the dog's, and the dog is absolutely correct. So in that moment, I feel it is the best course of action to turn to him and say, yes, it is. And at this point, his friendly demeanor is gone. And he said, all right, sir, here's what's going to happen. This man is a federal agent. A federal agent appeared and said, we are going to escort you back. We are going to treat you with courtesy and respect as we search your things. Do you understand everything I just said to you? All hope flushed from my body in the form of underarm sweat. I am taken to a back room that was stale with a lot of long tables. All of my things are laid out, and our search began. So it was at this point that I am introduced to a customs agent who has been assigned to me, a big dumb douche of a fellow, who I from this point on will call D-Bag. Now D-Bag did not like me from the beginning. He didn't like my vibe or my drug smuggling ways one bit. And I am so frightened, and I say to him, what's gonna happen to me? And the D-Bag responds with a little bit of glee, I don't know, man, you messed up. You messed up big. You're probably going to jail. It was at this moment at the other end of the table, an older customs agent starts going through my suitcase, and he pulls out a manila envelope about yay big. And my heart sinks because I know I'm about to be horribly embarrassed. In it were 5 unpackaged DVDs that were just, you know, part of my backup plan if I ever found myself alone without internet access. And once he sees the title and cover art, he's going to know exactly what these are. So suppressing all embarrassment and summoning all the strength I could muster, I put my hands on the table, I leaned forward, and I said, that's porn. You're about to open an envelope of porn. He opened it, and I was proven correct. And the D-Bag says to me immediately, and I quote, kitty porn? Better not be kitty porn. You're in enough trouble as it is. Now, there are certain times and certain situations where I am scared, and I suddenly, for whatever reason, get mouthy, thinking I'm much more charming than I actually am. And I don't know where I got the moxie for this moment, but I said, I know marijuana is a gateway drug, but I think kitty porn is pretty far down the path. He found this neither informative nor charming. So at this point, the D-bag takes my backpack and he starts to go through it, pulling everything out of it. And at the very bottom, he pulls out a small brown journal, and when he has it in his hand, I immediately bristle and reach for it. And this made him more curious, and he pulled it back to him, and he looked at me as he opened it up, and he audaciously began reading excerpts from this. And I don't know what he saw, but something in that journal caught his eye because he looked up at me, pointed at the journal, and said, "What is this?" Now, I don't want to answer him because I hate this guy and I don't want him to be in any way associated or know anything about my life. However, I have no choice in this moment, so I decide that I have to tell the truth. So I look at him and I say, "It is the journal I kept in the 5 months I lived with my mother right before she died." And his face got softer, and he looked at me and he said, "Was it cancer?" And I said, "Yeah, it was." And he said, "My grandmother just died of cancer." And then suddenly, I'm a human being to him. And I am no longer the drug smuggler that he had recently accused of owning child pornography. And we talked, and we commiserated, and we shared little minute details about the women that we had both loved and lost. He even told me a joke. "What do you get when you cross a brown chicken and a brown cow?" "Brown chicken, brown cow." I gave him a "ha ha ha ha, that's awesome" laugh. And at this point, he conferred with his CO, and they agreed that my crime was not that egregious and that I should just be let go with a small fine and the slap on the wrist that my name is now on an in-house list at the Port of Miami. And when I go back to the Port of Miami, my things are going to be searched. However, I've already found my loophole, which is I will never go to the Port of Miami. It has been 12 years since my mother died, and I am happy to report that she was absolutely correct. That journal helped me in so many different ways. It helped me put that time period in perspective. It helped me come to terms with her death, and in a way that neither of us saw coming, it helped me avoid federal drug charges. Thank you very much.
Kevin McGeehan, ladies and gentlemen.